This video is all about how you can massively amplify your executive presence by getting more consciousness back into your body. And I'll talk you through it step by step. My name is Brent Michael Phillips. I am an MIT-trained software engineer, turned video game entrepreneur, turned healer and spiritual teacher, turned executive coach. And we're here with video number 4 of 8 in our series on executive presence. And our focus for today is explaining to you, how do we get more consciousness into your body? If you watch the earlier videos, we used the metaphor of a tube of toothpaste, which I think is really appropriate. Because after all, when the toothpaste is new, when it's full, it's really easy to squeeze out the toothpaste. But the more you use it, the more it gets squeezed out, it gets harder and harder. And so for us to achieve success, to get in the zone, to be in the flow state, to have that presence, that executive charisma, whatever we want to call that, the most important thing for most people is to get the consciousness back into your body. We got to put the toothpaste back into the tube. So how do we do it? The short answer is movement. But I'm not talking about exercise or about doing laps or swimming or running or anything like that. There are very specific physical movements you can do that will actually get the toothpaste back in the tube. So how does this work? Well, if we use the metaphor of pipes and plumbing, you want as much water coming through your pipes as you can, right? So what determines how much water comes out? Well, one would be the size of the pipe. That's sort of your mindset, your paradigm, your attitude. Another would be, how clean are the pipes? Are they full of blockages and gunk? Or are they clear and smooth? That would be the subconscious. If there's blockages, you got to clear them. The last piece is how much water is being put through the pipe. This is, for many people, the most difficult piece. And this is one where there's only one solution I've ever found. And I've been certified in like 50 different kinds of self-improvement and energy healing and mind power and all that stuff. In my entire career, over 2 decades, I have found one thing that actually works here. And I'm going to share it with you in the video. So how do we turn up the flow? How do we get more life force moving through you and your body? This is so critical because that's your executive presence. That's what drives your next level success. And so if you're sick of making a living and you really want to take things to the next level, and of course we're focused primarily on career, money, achievement, but this is not just about money. It's also about your relationships, your love life, your social life, your family, your happiness, your sense of purpose, how long you live. All these things are affected. We want to turn up that flow as much as we can. So if you're like most people, you've already squeezed a lot of the consciousness out of your body even before you become an adult. Earlier in this series, we talked a little bit about the hands and the fingers versus the feet and toes. I'm just going to give you a quick reminder that most of us can feel our hands and move our fingers pretty easily, huh? But can you do that with your toes? Most people can't. The good news is it's a software problem, not a hardware problem. You got all the muscles and bones and tendons in your feet that you need, but they're not connected. There's no software running them intelligently. So how do we do it? It's pretty simple. By learning to move your body to the places it can't go to, you will put the toothpaste back in the tube. Now I'm going to walk you through this with an example, but that's the big picture. By identifying the parts of your body that you've lost the consciousness, you've squeezed the toothpaste out of the tube, we can put the toothpaste back in by forcing the body to gently and slowly move to where you can't feel it. And so I have entire trainings on this. I got a whole YouTube series called Movement Feedback Holography. You might want to check out if you want to learn more, but I'm going to give you the essence of it right now. So if you're primarily career focused, you're not interested in learning the metaphysics, I'm going to give you all you need right here. So quite simply, when you try to move your body through a range of motion where you can't feel it, you don't have the control. just like we said, with the fingers and the toes, right? Very easy for me to do this with my first finger. Can you do that with your toe? Most people can't, especially the middle toe. That's the hardest for most of us. So you don't have the software there. We need to get the consciousness back. Another good example would be doing circles with your ankles. And so I'm going to demonstrate with my wrist because I'm a lot more flexible, and you don't want to see a 50-some-year-old guy with his feet up in the air making a video, right? So imagine, you see how I'm moving my wrist slowly around in a circle? If you can do that and you can move it smoothly through the whole range of motion, what that means is there's a lot of consciousness there. But what you need to realize is most of us can't do that with many of our joints. So as an example, I'll demonstrate. It took me a couple years to learn how to do this. I want you to watch my wrist here. What you'll see is I can move just the wrist. I'm not moving my hand. Most people can't do this. Can you move just your wrist without moving your elbow, without moving your hand? Anyone can do this. That's not moving your wrist, that's moving your hand. See the difference? That's not it. But can you just move the wrist? If you can, great. If you can't, you've lost consciousness in your wrist. We want to put it back in. How do we do it? Simple. You move it really, really, really slowly. And you find the spots where it jumps or ratchets. So most people, I'm exaggerating, it looks something like this. Does that make sense? It jumps or ratchets. We're looking for a very smooth, controlled movement where there's no jumps or ratchets or quick movements. And so what you do is you can take your other hand and slowly help to guide you as you move through the range of motion and go really, really slow. This is all about going slow with precision and a high level of awareness, mindfulness. A good example would be take your ankles, and again, I'm going to demonstrate on my hand and wrist because it's a lot easier on the video here, and move your ankle around in the circle, right? Just circle your foot. What you'll find is there's spots where it jumps. You can't just move it smoothly through the whole range. That's where you've lost the consciousness. That's where the toothpaste came out of the tube. And if you can figure out where in your body you've lost the consciousness, you can do these movements, which are best done on your own. Maybe 20 minutes, 3 times a week is a good guideline to simply get the consciousness back in, to put the toothpaste back in the tube. And it's phenomenal what will happen in your life. Trust me, I totally get this sounds nuts. My background is in engineering, science, code, logic, reason. If you had told me this 30 years ago, I would have thought you were a nut. But this stuff is truly life-changing. And I learned this because my whole life flamed out. I had a horrible disaster, health crisis, lost 2 multi-million-dollar companies. I was betrayed by my best friend. I was put on lifetime disability with soul-crushing chronic pain. We'll skip the whole drama here. That really happened. I was able to heal a lot of my pain in my body just through the subconscious. But it didn't help me to make more money. It didn't help me with my confidence. It didn't help me with dating or my friendships or relationships with family or being a good manager at work. That I needed to get the toothpaste back in the tube. And it took me 5 years to find someone that even knew how to do this at all. And I trained with them with 10 years to figure it out. And I want to show it to you. This is it. The challenge you're going to run into is, of course, knowing the high-level theory isn't going to solve the problem on its own, right? Just like saying, hey, we need software for the space shuttle. Well, just hire a programmer. It's not that easy, right? So in order to help you find where you're missing it, I do what are called movement diagnostics or discoveries, where I have you move your body, simple movements like shaking your hands or scooping things to your chest and things like that, or a roll-up out of Pilates. And that allows me to see where you've lost the consciousness, where you've squeezed out the toothpaste. And then with an expert coach or facilitator, they can give you the proper exercise to get the toothpaste back in the tube. And for better or for worse, in his entire life, my late mentor Carl only gave one person the privilege of teaching and practicing his work, and that's Brent. So I'm here to tell you, this stuff works. My experience was this. In 2003, I went to a healer when my arm was paralyzed, one of the many problems I had, and she cleared a bunch of subconscious blocks and my arm instantly healed. That really happened. Years later, in 2008, I had reduced my pain significantly. I'd come off disability. I had started dating again. I was lifting weights and going to the gym and going to concerts. And so I had re-engaged my life, which was amazing because I was told that could never happen. But I was still miserable and I was still struggling with money. In fact, I hired the wrong person. In fact, I unfortunately hired a criminal as my financial advisor. I didn't know that at the time. And long story short, he did a bunch of fraudulent, illegal stuff with my money and walked away, leaving me over $1 million in debt. So everything I had made my entire life was gone. I was bankrupt at 38 years old. And I met Carl the day after I declared bankruptcy. I thought my life might be over. And he showed me how to do these movements. We did what we call movement feedback holography. And long story short, in 3 days, I made over $50,000. Now, of course, your mileage may vary. Of course, it's not all that easy for some people. And you may be going, hey, Brent, 50 grand's not my problem, 50 million is. Doesn't matter. It's all the same. Doesn't matter if you want to make $5 or 500 or 5 million or 5 billion. If you can get the consciousness back in your body, that will connect you to this field of consciousness, this flow of prana, chi, ki, life force, whatever, and things will break your way. People will like you and want to give you money. And combine that with hard work, talent, vision, ambition, etc. You're going to make a killing. It's going to be freaking awesome. So this one's a little shorter than the other videos. I had a lot to say, but really what it's about is you got to find the spots in your body you can't feel and find the right movements and practice them to reconnect it, to put consciousness back in there, to write new software, because you already got the hardware. All we got to do is a software update, and you will be able to feel your body, and other people will notice it. You'll be more attractive, you'll be healthier, you'll have more energy. But, of course, the most important thing we're looking for is you'll make a lot more money. That's all I got to say for right now. Brent Michael Phillips signing off. This is the end of video number 4 in the series, and I hope to see you again for video number 5 and beyond. Until then, please take care and namaste.